The warning ignored, the massive warship of the Krex Empire moved through the darkness of space. Its hull was black as night, covered with weapons that could destroy entire moons. Inside the command bridge, Admiral Voss stood tall. He was 8 feet of muscle and scales, his forearms crossed over his chest. "Sir, we are approaching the border," said Captain Rex, his aide. The younger officer looked nervous, his tail twitching behind him. "Good. Set course for the human system," Voss commanded. His voice was deep like thunder. "But sir, the Council warned us. They said Terran space is forbidden. No ship that enters ever returns," Rex said carefully. Voss laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. "The Council fears shadows. These humans are nothing. They have only colonized 3 systems. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. What can these soft mammals do against the might of the Krex Empire?" The bridge crew exchanged worried looks, but said nothing. They had all heard the stories. Ships vanishing without a trace. Entire fleets going silent the moment they crossed into human territory. But nobody dared question Admiral Voss. "The humans have something we need," Voss continued. "Their planet Earth sits on the richest deposit of quantum crystals in the galaxy. With those crystals, our empire will be unstoppable. We will take what we want, as we always have." Lieutenant Kane, a navigation officer, spoke up. "Admiral, I'm detecting strange readings at the border. It's like space itself is different there. Ignore it." "Full speed ahead," Voss ordered. The warship accelerated. Behind it, 50 more ships followed. It was an invasion fleet, armed with the best weapons the Krex Empire could build. They had conquered the warrior races of Sigma Prime. They had enslaved the genius minds of the tech worlds. Nothing had ever stopped them. As they crossed the invisible line into human space, every screen on the bridge flickered. For just a moment, a simple message appeared in their language. "You were warned." Then everything went dark. Emergency lights kicked on, bathing the bridge in red. Alarms screamed. The mighty engines that had never failed suddenly went silent. "What's happening?" Voss roared. "I don't know, sir." "All systems are failing. Weapons, shields, engines, even life support is struggling," Kane reported, his fingers flying over his console dot outside the viewports. Space looked wrong. The stars seemed to bend and twist. Colors that shouldn't exist danced at the edges of their vision. "Sir, the fleet." Rex pointed at the tactical display. One by one, the dots representing their ships were going dark. "Impossible," Voss whispered. His 4 hands gripped the command chair, so hard it cracked and they heard it. A sound that shouldn't exist in the vacuum of space. It was like whispers from a million voices, growing louder. The crew covered their ear holes, but the sound came from inside their heads. A figure appeared on the main screen. It was a human, but not like the weak creatures they had expected. This human's eyes glowed with an inner light. When it spoke, its voice echoed with power that made even Voss step back. "I am Commander Smith of Terra Defense," the human said calmly. "You were warned. Terran space is forbidden. You chose not to listen. We are the Krex Empire. We have conquered," Voss began. "You have conquered nothing here," Smith interrupted. "Your technology, your weapons, your ships, they mean nothing in our space. We learned long ago that the universe is far stranger than anyone imagined. And we learned how to use that strangeness." The bridge began to shake. Through the viewports, the crew watched in horror as their escort ships started to fade like ghosts, becoming transparent before vanishing completely. "What are you?" Voss asked, fear creeping into his voice for the first time in his life. Smith smiled. It was not a kind smile. "We are humans. We are the species that looked into the void and made it blink first. Leave now, while we still allow it, and tell your Empire Terran space is forbidden." There will be no second warning. The lights came back on. The engines hummed to life. But of the 50 ships that had followed them, only 5 remained. The others were simply gone, as if they had never existed at all. The council meeting 3 days had passed since the failed invasion. The Grand Council chamber of the Galactic Alliance was packed with representatives from every major civilization. The massive dome could hold 10,000 beings, and today, every seat was filled. At the center of the chamber, Admiral Voss stood in the testimony circle. His proud stance was gone. His scales, once bright green, had turned pale gray. His 4 arms hung limp at his sides. The other survivors from his fleet stood behind him, all showing the same signs of deep trauma. "Tell us what happened," demanded High Speaker Zara, leader of the council. She was ancient, even by the standards of her long-lived species. Her crystalline form caught the light as she leaned forward. Voss tried to speak, but no words came. Captain Rex stepped forward instead. His voice shook as he began. "We entered human space at standard speed. Within seconds, our technology failed. But that wasn't the worst part." Rex paused, his tail wrapping around his leg in fear. Space itself was wrong there. The laws of physics seemed ... optional. Murmurs ran through the crowd. Someone shouted, "Impossible." "I thought so too," Rex continued. "But I saw our ships disappear. Not destroyed, not blown up. They just stopped existing, as if they were erased from reality itself." High Speaker Zara raised a hand for silence. "We have all heard rumors about the humans. They appeared only 50 years ago, yet they hold their space absolutely. No pirate raids succeed. No invasion has ever returned. Today, we must understand why." An old ambassador from the tech world stood up. His name was Professor Glenn, and his mechanical eyes whirred as they focused. "I have studied all available data about humanity. What I found disturbs me greatly." The chamber fell silent. Professor Glenn was respected across the galaxy for his wisdom. "The humans come from a world they call Earth," Glenn began. "It is located in a region of space we had marked as uninhabitable. The quantum field there is unstable. Any normal species would have died or fled. But the humans didn't flee. They adapted." He pressed a button, and a hologram appeared showing Earth's solar system. Strange energy readings pulsed around it like a heartbeat. The humans evolved in these conditions. Their brains developed differently. Where we see chaos, they see patterns. Where we see impossibility, they see opportunity. They have learned to manipulate reality itself at the quantum level, using nothing but conscious thought and their technology combined. Gasps echoed through the chamber. "That's not possible," said Admiral Tor of the Warrior. "Clans, reality manipulation is a myth, is it?" Glenn asked. "Then explain how human ships appear and disappear without any engine signatures. Explain how they communicate instantly across any distance. Explain how 50 warships can simply cease to exist." Voss finally found his voice. "The human, Smith, he said something. He said they looked into the void and made it blink first. I didn't understand then, but now ... double quotes," he shuddered. "They don't fight wars like we do. They don't need to. They can simply decide you don't exist anymore." A young ambassador from the Trade Federation raised her hand. "But if they have such power, why haven't they conquered us all?" "Because they don't want to," said a new voice. Everyone turned. At the chamber entrance stood a human. Nobody had seen her arrive. She simply was there, as if she had always been there. She was average height for a human, with dark skin and silver hair, wearing a simple gray suit. Security forces raised their weapons, but Zara waved them down. "I am Ambassador Jones from Earth," the human said, walking calmly to the center. "We came to this meeting to deliver a message. How did you get past our security?" Zara asked. Jones smiled slightly. Your security exists in normal space. We don't always operate there. Before anyone could respond, she continued. Humanity has no interest in conquest. We want peace. We want trade. We want friendship. But we will not tolerate aggression. And why mark your space as forbiddance? Someone called out. Because your technology and ours are incompatible. Your ships rely on stable physics. In our space, physics is more flexible. Most species find it disturbing. Many go mad. We isolate ourselves for your protection, not ours. Admiral Voss stepped forward, anger overcoming his fear. You destroyed 45 of my ships. Jones looked at him with sympathy. No, Admiral. We sent them home. Check your Empire's outer colonies. You'll find them there, confused but unharmed. We don't kill unless we must. But we will defend ourselves with powers you cannot comprehend. Asterisk the test, 770 words. 2 months after the Council meeting, a small diplomatic vessel approached the border of human space. Unlike the warships that had come before, this one bore the peace marks of the Galactic Alliance. Inside, 3 brave volunteers waited nervously. There was Captain Luna from the Explorer Guild, a 4-armed insectoid whose people were known for their courage. Beside her sat Dr. Hal, a brilliant scientist from the water worlds, his blue skin shimmering with anxiety. The third was Tom, the only warrior brave enough to volunteer, from a race of honor-bound fighters. Remember, Luna said, checking her instruments, the humans invited us. This is a peaceful mission. We're here to learn, not to fight. Tell that to my instincts. Tom muttered, his hand resting on his ceremonial blade. Everything about this feels wrong. As they crossed into human space, their instruments went crazy. Numbers that shouldn't exist appeared on their screens. The stars outside looked normal one moment, then seemed to pulse with colors beyond description the next. Fascinating, Dr. Hell whispered, his 3 eyes wide. The quantum field here is completely unstable, yet somehow maintains a pattern. It's like chaos with purpose. A human ship appeared beside them. Not approached appeared. One moment empty space, the next moment it was there. It was smaller than their vessel, smooth and white, with no visible weapons or engines. Welcome to human space, came a friendly voice over their communicator. I'm Captain Brown. I'll be your guide. Please follow us to Station Alpha. The human ship moved without any visible propulsion. It simply glided through space as if the universe itself was carrying it. Luna tried to match their movement, but her engine struggled against the strange physics. Don't fight it, Captain Brown advised. Let go of what you think you know about movement. Think about where you want to be, not how to get there. Luna looked skeptical, but tried. She reduced engine power and simply focused on following. To her amazement, their ship began to move more smoothly, as if caught in an invisible current. They arrived at Station Alpha, a massive structure that hurt to look at directly. It seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once, its shape constantly shifting, yet somehow remaining stable. How is this possible? Dr. Hal asked. As they docked. Inside the station, they met Captain Brown face to face. She was young by human standards, with red hair and green eyes that seemed to see more than they should. Welcome to the reality bubble, she said with a smile. This station exists partially outside normal space-time. It takes some getting used to. She led them through corridors that seemed to stretch forever, yet took only moments to traverse. They passed windows that showed Earth one moment and distant galaxies the next. Your people evolved here? Tom asked, his warrior instincts overwhelmed by the strangeness. We didn't just evolve here, Brown explained. We were shaped by it. Earth sits at a quantum nexus point. Reality is thin there. Our ancestors had two choices: flee or adapt. We chose to adapt. They entered a large room where human children were playing. But their play was unlike anything the visitors had seen. The children were making toys float, changing their colors with a touch, even making them disappear and reappear. "By the seven suns," Luna gasped. "Your children can do this?" "All humans can, to some degree," Brown said. "It's not magic or psychic power. It's understanding. We see the quantum level of reality as easily as you see the physical level. What you call impossible, we call Tuesday." Dr. Howe was scanning everything with his instruments. "The energy readings are off the charts. How do you not destroy yourselves?" Brown laughed. "Practice. Lots of practice. And rules. Very strict rules." She showed them to an observation deck where they could see Earth in the distance. The planet glowed with an inner light, surrounded by layers of energy that rippled like water. "That's our home," Brown said with pride. "The world that made us what we are. We didn't conquer the chaos. We joined it. We became part of it." Tom, the warrior, asked the question they all were thinking. "Could you conquer the galaxy if you wanted?" Brown's expression became serious. "Yes, easily. We could rewrite reality to make every other species never exist. But that's exactly why we don't. Power without wisdom is destruction. We learned that lesson early. Nearly destroyed ourselves learning it." The truth revealed the tour continued deeper into the station. Captain Brown led them to a secured section that required multiple clearances to enter. The walls here were different, covered in symbols that seemed to move when not directly observed. "What you're about to see is classified. At the highest level," Brown said. "Only a few outside of humanity have been shown this. Your council requested you see it, to understand why we are the way we are." They entered a vast chamber. In the center was a holographic display showing Earth from 200 years ago. The planet looked different, darker, more polluted, dying. "This was Earth before the awakening," Brown explained. "We were destroying our world. Wars, pollution, greed, all the usual failures of a young species. We were perhaps 50 years from extinction." The hologram shifted, showing a scientific facility deep underground. Then our scientists discovered the quantum nexus beneath Earth's crust. They thought they could harness it for unlimited energy. They were right, but not in the way they expected. The hologram showed the moment of activation. A blast of impossible light erupted from the facility, spreading across the entire planet in seconds. "Every human on Earth was changed in that instant," Brown continued. "Our brains were restructured at the quantum level. Suddenly, we could perceive dimensions beyond the standard four. We could see the threads that hold reality together." Luna asked, "Did many die?" 70% of our population," Brown said quietly. "Those whose minds couldn't adapt to the new perception. It was our darkest hour and our brightest dawn. Those who survived were changed forever." The hologram now showed humans learning to use their new abilities. At first, chaos. People accidentally phasing through walls, disappearing, reappearing miles away. Objects randomly changing or ceasing to exist. "It took us 50 years to learn control," Brown said. 50 years of accidents, disasters, and miracles. We developed mental disciplines, technologies to help focus our abilities, and most importantly, strict ethical codes about their use. Dr. Howe was fascinated. "Your entire species underwent forced evolution, not evolution transformation. We became something new. Not better or worse than other species, just different. We see reality as flexible, moldable. You see it as fixed and solid. Neither view is wrong. They're just different perspectives." Tom crossed his arms. "If you have such power, why hide? Why not share it?" Brown gestured to a wall screen that activated, showing various alien species. "We tried. 20 years after the awakening, we made contact with the Meridian Commonwealth. We tried to share our knowledge. The result? 3 of their scientists went insane just from viewing our equations. One accidentally erased himself from existence, trying to replicate our experiments. She showed more examples. Every species we've encountered has the same reaction. Your brains aren't structured to safely perceive reality as we do. It would be like trying to download a quantum computer's data into a mechanical calculator. The hardware simply can't handle it. So you isolate yourselves to protect us? Luna asked, partially, but also to protect ourselves. When we first ventured out, some species saw us as gods, others as demons. Neither is healthy. We're just humans who took a different path. We want to be part of the galactic community, but safely, carefully. Brown led them to another room where human scientists were working. Their work was incomprehensible. They seemed to be manipulating equations that floated in midair, reshaping them with hand gestures. We're working on interface technologies, Brown explained. Ways for humans and non-humans to interact without the danger. Translator devices for reality itself. It may take centuries, but we're patient. One of the scientists, an older man with white hair, approached them. Ah, our guests. I'm Dr. White. I've been studying your ship's reaction to our space. Fascinating stuff. He showed them a display. Your technology assumes stable physics. In our space, that assumption breaks down. It's like trying to sail a boat in a place where water randomly becomes air. We're developing stabilizer fields that could allow your ships to function here safely. And if someone comes with hostile intent? Tom asked. Dr. White's friendly expression didn't change, but something in his eyes shifted. Then they learn why human space is forbidden. We don't enjoy violence, but we're very, very good at it when necessary. Reality itself becomes our weapon. The future partnership's 6 months had passed since the diplomatic mission. The galaxy had changed. News of humanity's true nature had spread, creating fear in some and fascination in others. The Galactic Council called an emergency session to decide humanity's place in the galactic community. Ambassador Jones stood before the assembled representatives. Beside her were the 3 volunteers who had visited human space Luna, Hal and Tom. They had become advocates for human galactic cooperation. The question before us is simple. High Speaker Zara began. Do we accept humanity as full members of the Galactic Alliance, with all rights and responsibilities that entails? Admiral Voss, still bearing the psychological scars of his failed invasion, stood up. They're too powerful. They could destroy us all with a thought. How can we trust them? Before Jones could respond, Tom stood. The warrior's voice was strong and clear. I've walked among them. I've seen their children play with the fabric of reality. Yes, they could destroy us. But they choose not to. Every day, every moment, they choose peace. That is true strength. Dr. L added his voice. Their technology, properly interfaced, could solve problems we've struggled with for millennia. Faster than light communication with no delay. Medical techniques that operate at the quantum level. Energy sources that tap into the foundation of reality itself. But at what cost? Asked an ambassador from the trade worlds. What if they decide we're not worthy? What if they choose to eliminate us? Jones finally spoke. If we wanted you gone, you would be. Not in the future now. The fact that you exist to ask that question is proof of our intentions. We don't want subjects or slaves. We want partners. We want friends. She gestured, and a hologram appeared showing human space. But now, there were new structures at the border's massive stations designed as interface points. We propose this. Gateway stations. Places where human and galactic technology can safely interact. where trade can occur, knowledge can be exchanged, and friendships can be built. Your people can visit human space safely within these stations' fields. Our people can venture out without accidentally breaking your physics. Captain Luna stood. I've seen these stations in construction. They're remarkable. The humans are literally building bridges between realities. It's the greatest engineering project in galactic history. And if someone attacks these stations? Someone called out. Jones's expression hardened slightly. And they face the consequences. But let me be clear, we will never strike first. We will never conquer. We will never impose our will through force. But we will defend ourselves and our friends with every tool at our disposal. She paused, then continued with warmth, returning to her voice. Imagine what we could accomplish together. Your solid understanding of physical reality combined with our quantum flexibility. Your diverse perspectives and our unique abilities. We could explore dimensions you can't perceive. You could give us stability we sometimes lack. High Speaker Zara stood, her crystalline form catching the light. The Council will vote. All in favor of accepting humanity into the Galactic Alliance? Hands, tentacles, appendages of every description rose. It wasn't unanimous fear still gripped some, but it was an overwhelming majority. The motion passes, Zara announced. Humanity is welcomed into the Galactic Alliance. Applause filled the chamber. Though some remained silent and worried, Jones smiled. Thank you. To commemorate this moment, we have a gift. She touched something on her wrist, and suddenly every representative's personal device activated. On their screens appeared blueprints, partial ones, safely limited for quantum communication devices. These will allow instant communication between any 2 points in the galaxy. No lag, no delay. Consider it our first contribution to our new partnership. Dr. Howe was already studying the blueprints. This is incredible, but it's incomplete. We'd need human help to build them. Exactly, Jones said. Partnership. We'll work together, each contributing what we do best. We'll learn from each other, grow together, and maybe, in time, the barriers between our realities will shrink. As the session ended, Admiral Voss approached Jones. The Krex warrior towered over the human, but there was no aggression in his stance now. I still fear your kind, he admitted. But I respect you. You showed mercy when you could have shown wrath. That is admirable. Jones looked up at him. We learned something important when we gained our abilities, Admiral. True power isn't about what you can destroy. It's about what you choose to create. We choose to create a future where human space isn't forbidden. It's simply another neighborhood in a vast, wonderful galaxy. Outside the council chamber, the stars continued their eternal dance, unchanged by the momentous decision. But for two realities, one solid, one flexible, a new chapter had begun. Asterisk.